First and foremost, before we get started, I like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rekah Kwadash, and double honors to the El's Great Millstone, while lunch is truth, and also to those Philat that is scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great, powerful lesson to the spirit and the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And the type D lesson is news and prophecies, a dark forecast. So I like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope to help you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we get started, I have a few news articles, but we'll start here first by this one by Yahoo Finance. And it reads, it says stock market today. Said Dow drops 950 points. Said the S&P 500, NASDAQ tumble as Trump bashes Fed Powell again. Says here, said the U.S. stock tanked on Monday as President Trump heralded criticism at Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, again sparking concerns of Fed independence of a time when the markets have been reacting to the President wide sowing tariff policy. The S&P 500 GSPC was down more than 2.3%, while the tech-heavy NASDAQ IXIC sank 2.5%, said the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the DJI, dropped almost 24% on nearly 1,000 points. So we're seeing right now that this stock market is constantly, it's up and it's down, but it's constantly dropping left and right. So we already constantly seeing a dark forecast of this economy. It's already constantly left and right, a lot of uncertainties. A lot of people right now are very afraid. They're talking about the housing market, how that, it's on the decline. They're talking about, how the dollar is constantly plunging, it's constantly losing its values, pretty much it's worthless, and also it's already rumors that that DJ Donald Trump is talking about, it has not been confirmed. It's only a rumor that he said that he is going to replace the fiat currency or the petrodollar, this money that we know right now, is going to replace it with this new blockchain, coin, which in fact is called the IBT. You know what I'm saying? So that's going into international blockchain technology. So there's a lot of things that's going on around the world. So the prophet, we're constantly, warning you, and say if you see something, you're supposed to say something. So right here, we're seeing that it's constantly tumbling, so a great crashing in the hills. So these things are constantly picking up left and right, that dark forecast. Also, we already know that the grinding is ceasing. We already know about the economy was once flourishing. Now we're seeing that it's on the decline. We're seeing that these jobs are constantly drying up. Also in the news, it's this medical health company. I think it was Krozer, if I'm not mistaken. They're closing their doors. Some of their hospitals, so we already know that a lot of people are not going to be able to get the proper care. We already knowing that a lot of things are coming, a time of trouble that we have never seen before. Also, I think in China said that they're not going to send any more meds or medication to the U.S. So a lot of things are coming up. So we already knowing that, that when this time of trouble hit, a lot of people are going to, be taken in a great number, will be unalive in a great number, because right now, a lot of people have a lot of elements. A lot of people are very, have high blood pressure, a heart disease, diabetes, a lot of things, meds that they're depending on. And we're seeing that these hospitals are constantly closing down too, so, there won't be anywhere to go to care for these people. So what you think is going to happen? So we already know that's a dark forecast. The body count is getting ready to be great. So that's another one I want to get. Let's go to this one here by DJ Donald Trump. We probably just read it A couple of them I got pulled up. If they'll pull up, it's another one I got. Let's see. Let's go back here. It's this one right here. It says here, it said, does Trump plan to replace U.S. dollar with cryptocurrency? So we know we've been constantly hearing that for the last couple of months that, he's going to, you already signed a bill, what I'm saying, to replace the dollar, what I'm talking. That also is rumors that the dollar is going to be obsolete. I think it's June or July, if I'm not mistaken, but none of these things has been confirmed, but we know that these things are going to happen because what the Bible says. So we already know about Revelation chapter 13. It's constantly, becoming, it's speaking right now. These prophecies are speaking loud and clear. Once again, I'm not going to open this one up because it has not been confirmed. We already know how YouTube get down with their, with their guidelines. We got to be very careful now because we're coming upon the famine of the world. Also, we know that persecution of the saints is a fast approach. So let's read this once again. It said, does Trump plan to replace U.S. dollar with cryptocurrency? So when you get a chance, look up IBT. So it goes into international blockchain technology. So it's a new coin that he's getting ready to introduce. It's already rumors of it right now, but about the date, we don't deal with date, but we know it through the prophecy it's going to happen. It's not a matter of if, but when, so we know that it's going to go down. These prophecies are speaking loud and clear, so we already know that we're coming upon a digital infrastructure. We're coming upon these digital IDs. Also, in the news, I think it's May the 7th, that we, that's the deadline for these real ID, so we already know we coming upon that MOTB, that grain of rice. So we know that we coming upon these turbulent times, Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation. So these things are constantly fastly approaching. We constantly warn, so all the games are about to be over. So let's go to this one. Here's another one I want to get here. Let's see, let's see what can I do here. Doomsday. No, this is not what I want. Let me go to my search deal here. There's another one here, right here, about these, let's go to this one here. This hospital closing. You know what I'm saying? What is the latest here about this one? Well, Crozer right here. I got a video on this one right here. So we're just going to show a little bit of these things here to let you know that it's a very dark forecast. Things are constantly happening right before our eyes, even though that you're eating good. You still are drinking good right now. You still have your job. Still right now have your family intact right now. Everything is still looking very good, because a lot of people right now still thinking that they're a good case because they still have a job, they still have finance, still eating good. But one thing about it, we're on the verge of all hell breaking loose. So, a lot of people thinking that this thing, it's going to be a while for it to happen. But one thing about it, the Lord is getting ready to snatch the rug off of under a lot of people. A lot of people are going to be very afraid. A lot of people are going to have a lot of uncertainties, a lot of vexation of spirit. And one thing about it, a lot of people right now still thinking that they are a good case, still going on with their daily lives. These things all around us constantly crumbling left and right. America has fallen, and it will never ever get back up again. We're seeing that these nations are constantly coming in alliance against America. We go over these things left and right. Also, we know about the war drums are beating. So now, these hospitals left and right. It's another one, and Philadelphia is another one, and a couple of other states. These healthcare centers, these hospitals, these facilities are shutting down. Is this by design? Has this been manufactured? We're not ignorant of Satan's devices, but it's all through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. So this one right here said devastating. Crozer Health is closing, says shutting down two Pennsylvania hospitals. Let's see, can we get a little of this here? It said Crozer Health roots date back to the Civil War, but the efforts to preserve the Pennsylvania health system, so like it's a little tongue-tied, system, said have untimely failed. See here, it said Prospect, said Medical Holdings, the owner of Crozer Health, said Monday it's moving forward with the closure of this system. Prospect has filed for bankruptcy, with the California-based company saying it has no choice said no other choice. So, so a lot of people, get ready to lose their jobs. So the unsown places, the sown places get ready to become unsown, so a lot of people, going to be unemployed. We know that this AI takeover is coming upon us, robotics, also biometrics, these digital IDs, all that's why all these things are leading to also this new cryptocurrency, which in fact is going to be backed by this international blockchain technology. So it's going to be global, one world, currency, one world religion, one world government. So we know where this going, the NWO. So, we're just going to just a little reading of this here, but I got a video to bring it out. So a lot of people right now, are very upset, that these things are, just constantly, happening, left and right. So a lot of people are losing their job left and right. A lot of people are very tensed up. A lot of people right now at the boiling point. So we already knowing, they're setting the stage, for, like civil unrest, civil war. A lot of these things are coming upon us, as we speak. And also the Lord's constantly bringing forth judgment. Also, I seen this in the news today. Just a quick news report, something, that we seeing through the spirit. If you're spiritual, you can also see what's coming. Might have pull up another one. This one is acting up. It says here, this one here is news break. It says here, so RFK Jr. said the FDA commissioner, petroleum-based food dyes to be removed. So all of a sudden now they getting ready to remove these food petroleum-based out of these certain foods, and also medication. You know what I'm saying? So we already know that these things causes cancer and different other elements and different things like that. But we already knowing that, all of a sudden now they trying to remove these things, but we already knowing who is constantly destroying the earth, who is constantly poisoning the food, poisoning the water, the air, and all these different things, But, just, this right here, I got a little video on this. I don't want to go into this too much because, what I'm saying, it's getting very close to them, taking a lot of these videos down. But anyway, that's what this is going into. So you get back, you can look at it, but I got a video to bring it out with a little bit more edification. So, right here, it said RFK Jr. said FDA commissioner said petroleum-based food dyes to be removed. So they got here, trying to, they trying to make America great again. But one thing about it, it's too late. This place is defiled. This place is wicked beyond imagination. And also the Lord is getting ready to destroy this place. You know what I'm saying? There will be no inhabitant left here. So no matter what they try to do to try to correct their own problem, it's too late. The Lord is getting ready to destroy this place. That's what we're loaning for, left and right. We ain't giving a damn about none of this, what they're trying to correct. So now let's go here and get a quick precept. Let's go here first to Ezekiel. Let's go to Ezekiel first, because a lot of people are seeing these things right before their eyes, and they're not, not paying attention to the signs of the time. So let's go here. Let's go back out. Salakia. I'm trying to get my phone kind of acting up just a little. Let's get this one here to go to this Bible app. Oh man, let's see what's this Bible app at. I got so many Bible apps. There it is right here. Let's go here first to Ezekiel chapter 12. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 12. Let's get this one right quick. Because, a lot of people are seeing these dark forecasts, constantly hearing these warnings, and they constantly going on with their daily lives, like, everything would be all right. Everything will be fine. But one thing about it, these things are happening left and right, and they're going to come very quickly, all of a sudden. Suddenly they shall come upon you. It says here, Ezekiel chapter 12, and verse 2, it says, Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and hear not, for they are a rebellious house to this day. So right now, a lot of people seeing it, hearing about the stock market, the disruption in the stock market, we're telling you about, could be a great economic collapse. We're telling you about the end of the dollar. We're telling you about World War III. We're telling you about these outbreaks, these pestilence. We're telling you about these business closing, these hospitals are closing. You know, these retail store closing, a lot of things are happening. You know, telling you this dark forecast. You know, it's going to be a time of trouble that we have never seen before. You know, a lot of people are going to lose a lot on this side, including their life. And one thing about it, the Lord is constantly bringing forth that judgment. So right now, a lot of people are seeing. But you know what I'm saying? But what? They see not, because they don't have that spiritual eye salve that only come from who? Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushua. And they have ears, they have eyes, but they don't have the spiritual aspect of, you know what I'm saying, only come from Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushua, that understand, that wisdom, that knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of the time. So now, let's go here to to today's video, and after the video, we'll start the lesson, and I hope that you will get edified.
This headline this morning, Dow headed for worst April since the Great Depression.
Oh my God.
What is this all about?
Basically, what we have is a situation where over the course of the last several weeks, there's been an evolving narrative, if you will, right? We talked about this notion that with new policies, especially on the tariff front, what you have is a new degree of uncertainty brought to global markets, global trade, that then manifests itself in the way that markets have reacted with some of that downside volatility. Now, I remember over the course of the last, few weeks, having this conversation kind of around the lead up to that so-called Liberation Day and the tariff announcement about the stabilization factor of the U.S. market and the U.S. economy. Over the course of the last several decades, the American economy and the markets, the capital markets, have been seen as a stabilizing force within the global economy and the global market, one that you can turn to no matter what, in good times and in bad. That narrative has shifted a little bit more. It started off a little bit more along the lines of, can you still trust the U.S. dollar? Now, the U.S. dollar is the preeminent and the world's really only reserve currency out there. It's the one that you go to because pretty much every asset out there worth having is denominated in U.S. dollars. The U.S. Treasury market is the deepest, most liquid sovereign bond market in the world. It is the safest place to be. In the course of the last few weeks, there's been a little bit of chatter early on about the luster coming off some of those assets, the U.S. dollar and the U.S. Treasury side of things. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, there is now a full-blown debate in certain parts of Wall Street about whether or not there is a market shine. But when you have a possible paradigm shift, a change in thinking about the way that the dollar is valued and viewed in the global market, the way that our sovereign bonds, the U.S. Treasury market, is viewed in the market, that shift or potential shift is enough to have traders and investors, not just here in America, but around the world, questioning whether or not you have to change the way that you think about it. Now, to be fair, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, like every other Treasury Secretary before him, has proclaimed the notion of a strong U.S. dollar and, of course, the idea that the U.S. capital markets are the deepest, most liquid in the world. The question now becomes, guys, whether or not that incremental effect of not just the tariff and trade policy, but now the attacks on the central bank and its independence and its leader are making those assets, again, relatively less attractive. They are still the most attractive out there, but in a term of relative less luster, could that change the way that people think about the way that the U.S. markets operate? That's what you're kind of seeing play out right now.
Later today, Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is expected to announce a plan to remove petroleum-based synthetic dyes from our nation's food supply. Kennedy has vowed to eliminate the artificial dyes commonly used in thousands of products marketed to kids, including colorful candies, cereals, and soda. He claims that dyes are responsible for behavioral problems in kids, a link the FDA says it's monitoring but has not established. Other countries have moved to either restrict or ban the dyes and use natural alternatives.
Breaking news. The United States officially says goodbye to the dollar. In a shocking announcement that's shaking the world, Donald Trump confirmed that the U.S. dollar will no longer be the nation's official currency starting next month. A new national cryptocurrency, the IBT coin, will be the only accepted form of financial transaction across the country. Collapsed banks, desperate customers, empty ATMs, and mass panic on Wall Street are just the beginning. Global markets are on the verge of collapse, with major stock exchanges reporting historic losses. But the most alarming part was Trump's warning. Any country that refuses to adopt IBT coin will be banned from trading with us. China, Russia, and the European Union have already fired back, and global tensions are rising fast. Are we witnessing the death of the dollar or the dawn of a new crypto era? The financial war has begun, and no one knows how it will end. Comment, share, and follow for the next chapter.
Our patients have nowhere to go. They can transfer them all today. They're very proud of the fact that they're finding beds for everyone and sending everyone home. Where do they go tomorrow when the crisis center's gone and the emergency room's gone? University of Penn is not close. Riddle is not close. Christiana Care is not close for any of us and for any of these patients. Where do they go? They die. Who's going to tell the mom whose child dies of an asthma attack that her child died because she couldn't get care close enough to be able to save her child? What do we tell our trauma victims' parents when they could have been saved because a ride 10 minutes down the road and summer's coming and our traumas rise? And who's going to tell these parents that their children died because we couldn't get them somewhere quick enough? And I have said this, and I have said this, and I have said this, and I can't say it anymore. It is real. It is real, and I hope you are all here when it happens to comfort those families and to comfort all of us who just can't bear the thought of what's coming. But nobody cares because it doesn't have anything to do with people. It only has to do with money. They don't care about the employees here. They have taken everything from us. In the end, they take our PTO, they take our pension, they have tried to take everything. They don't care. We don't hear anything from them except, oh, sorry, we tried everything. We're closing. When we know that's not true. We know that all of our local officials tried desperately to get a consortium in here to try to save us. And we were all excited because we thought it was happening. And at the last minute, Prospect once again pulled their final stunt and said no.
So I work in healthcare, and Hong Kong just announced yesterday that they were completely stopping all postal service to the United States. Hong Kong. And we get 50% of all of our medical supplies and 91% of our medications from China. So hospitals are going to close. What immediate action will you take to stop this? Hospitals are going to be immediately crippled as soon as next week.
So now we'll start today's lesson. We start here, just a quick lesson through the Spirit. We'll start here first in Ecclesiastes chapter 12. We start here in Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. So we're seeing a very dark forecast. So in that last video, see how, these tariff wars, these trade wars between the U.S. and China, Russia, several other places. I think he put a 90-day think he put 90 days. He stopped it for 90 days. I put it like that for certain countries. But I think China is still going on. But now they retaliating with, cutting off all these medication that these hospitals need. Now all of a sudden now these hospitals are closing down. So we're constantly seeing this dark forecast. We've seen a dim outlook. The grinding is ceasing. The mirth is gone. The vibration is changing. We're in that transition of power. So now I start here. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1 said, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, said, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, said, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." So one thing about it, when you're young and vigorous, it's really, it's that time, to seek the Lord, but everyone come in their order. So, really pretty much don't be delaying, don't be putting off, right now while you still have time, right now while you still, are able. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, the door of repentance is closing, so a time is coming when you will not have any pleasure in them. One thing about it, you're going to be like, hoping and wishing that you would have listened to what the men of the Lord. So, right now, it is time to seek the Lord, because the time is coming when you will have no pleasure in them. Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, a time of trouble that we have never seen before. That's why we constantly warning you left and right. Seek the Lord now, because the time is now. So one thing about it, we at the beginning of sorrow. We know that these things gonna get worse and worse. Verse 2, it said, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after rain. Verse 3 said, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, said, and the strong men shall bow themselves. It said, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the windows are darkened. So one thing about it, who is the keeper of the house? The one that's supposed to be watching. These stockbrokers, these financial advisors, these financial analysts, and so forth. And one thing about it, these ones that constantly watching the stock market, constantly plunging, constantly dropping left and right. So that's that dark forecast. Also, we seeing that the grinding is ceasing. So when you go in that word grinding, goes into unemployment. Working. The hustle and bustle. Of thriving economy. So right now we're seeing that the economy is on the decline. The grinding is ceasing. These jobs are drying up. They're closing the door. Hospital, retail store, restaurant, and so forth. They constantly closing down little by little. And right now, so it said those that look out the window be darkened. So they looking out to a dark forecast. Something that have a lot of uncertainty. A lot of people right now are very desperate. A lot of people are going to have a lot of depression. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, that, that's what we're coming upon. So now let's look up this word, grinders. Let's look up that right quick. Interstellar right quick. Let's get a little bit more on that. Cause what I'm saying, we already know it right here. Well, it says, that's what we're going to get here. I said, first let's look up at their keepers. Let's see what they're doing. I ain't never really looked it up. Let's look it up here. It says, it's H8104. Let's see what it says.
Strong's H8104. Shamer.
So
Shamer.
It says here to keep, guard, observe, to give heed. To keep, have charge of, to keep, guard, keep, watch. And ward, protect, save life. So, So you pretty much get the picture. So the keepers of the house are what is the stockbrokers, the financial advisor, the analysts, the constantly watching, the Dow, the S&P, all these different things they're constantly watching, but they seeing that dark forecast. So we just gonna get that one. Let's get this one here. This grinder, just bringing out a little more edification. H2912. Let's go to this one here. We go straight to the point. It said to grind or to crush. Let's go a little bit down. Let's go to the strong definition. So when you go down to the strong definition, this guy here said that being their employment. So it's basically going into your working, your job, the hustle and the bustle of a thriving economy. We're seeing right now, this economy is constantly on the decline. It's constantly drying up. So a lot of people right now are going to be very afraid. So that's what I want to get out of that. So you get a little bit more edification on that. Let's see what else we got here. Let's go back out. Let's read this once again. It said, Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 3 said, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out the window be darkened. So a lot of people right now seeing that, hey man, what are we going to do? A lot of people are worried. A lot of people right now are seeing that some troubling times are coming upon us, very dark, perilous time, civil unrest, protesting, rioting, looting, a lot of things that get ready to come upon us. And men, Lord, we constantly warning you, left, right, sedition, insurrection. That's these things when the money go, when the food go, when the water go, all hell is get ready to break loose. When the money go once again, So we already know that the dollars get ready to be obsolete. We already know they come with this new international blockchain technology. International mean global. So it's going to be globally. So one thing about it, we know that they get ready to accept this new world order. Verse 4, it said, Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and verse 4 said, and the door shall be shut in the street. So when the sound of the grinding is low, said, and he shall rise up at the voice of the birds, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low. So one thing about it that, we're seeing right now that the doors are shutting in the street. We're seeing right now the grinding is low. We're seeing that right now it's going to be massive unemployment, no jobs, no resources. These things are constantly drying up right before I had the daughter of music, the mirth is gone, a lot of, the what they call the good old day, So now, a lot of people right now seeing that there, hey man, this place is looking like a third world country. This place is constantly drying up. This place is constantly, the Lord is constantly breaking the staff, the necessities, your way of life. You already know you need water. You know that you need food. You know that you need food and shelter. Also you need medication. A lot of people need medication, but the only one they elect, we going to trust and believe on, and who we need is Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. The Lord said he will protect us in times of trouble. So we're seeing that we are right there. Let's get another one here. Let's go here to second Ezra chapter. Let's go to second Ezra chapter. Let's go out of the blue letter. Let's go here to the KJV. Second Ezra chapter 6, and we get one more, we'll close that. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. Second Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22. It says, suddenly shall the sown place appear unsown, and the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. So that's exactly where we at. So also we knowing about these tariffs are causing a lot of disruption, even though they're telling you left and right that the economy, that the stock market is coming back up, this and that. But one thing about it, never trust thy enemy. As iron rusts, so is his wickedness. So we already know right now that this man is going to cause this effect. It's called order out of chaos to bring forth this new system, this new way of doing things. But one thing about a men of law, we constantly warning you left and right, and also we telling you do not take it at that grain of rice. That's what he's getting ready to feed you very, very soon. A lot of people going to trust in this system. A lot of people are going to be trodden underfoot. So right now we're seeing that the full storehouses suddenly be found empty. So that's exactly what's getting ready. Suddenly shall come upon you. And also we know that, they're talking about peace talks, talking about, that they're going to make America great again, constantly trying to build the infrastructure, all these lies and deception. This place is finished and it never will get back up again. We already know it. And also in the news that it was saying that that the BRIC has came out with a new currency, and also something else. I can't think of it right all, but a lot of things are constantly happening. Also, I think it was what's the name of that trucking company? JP Hunt. I'm thinking they're having it's a lot of disruption going over there and a lot of laying off. It's like a freight recession. Also, we know about these ports. A lot of things, they are not letting in and not letting anything go out. You know what I'm saying? Also, a lot of things are happening, as we speak. A lot of things they're not putting in the news. So we see it right here once again. It says, 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 22, and suddenly shall the sown place places appear unsown, and the full storehouse shall suddenly be found empty. So one thing about it, we already know when this economy crash, when the dollar goes, this is what's going to happen. All of a sudden, the full storehouse will appear empty, unsown. So that's what we're coming upon now. This place is getting ready be just like it never was. Place is getting ready to be totally destroyed. There will be no inhabitant left here. So let's go to our last and final script. Just random scriptures once again. And once again, I hope that you will get edified. And we're so very close. We're very excited. We're telling the Lord, how long, oh Lord? DTA, we're ready to get the hell out of this nightmare, man. If you're not ready to leave this place, then you're part of the problem, and you will be totally destroyed. The Lord is only coming back for that 1/3 remnant, the house of David, the true believers of Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua. Let's start here. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 21 said, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. So we're coming upon great tribulation like you have never seen before. And a lot of people are getting prepared. A lot of people right now seeing that dark forecast. They're seeing it left and right, telling you to stock up for food, telling you, get prepared for this, get prepared for that. But the only way you will be prepared, is trusting and believing in Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, and hoping that you're part of what? The Hope elect, who the Lord is coming back to deliver with great glory and great power. Verse 22, Matthew chapter 24 and verse 22, it said, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So that's exactly what's happening. The Lord is constantly accelerating time. These days are passing left and right. You can be sitting out, and right now these days are flying right now. The Lord accelerating time for what the elect say. The Lord is getting ready to come back. The Lord is getting ready to set that righteous order back upon us. And also the Lord is constantly judging, left and right, bringing forth all sorts of calamities across the world. The Lord is causing these things to happen, left and right. The Lord is in perfect control. So that's exactly what we're seeing, left and right. So that's what I constantly been seeing. That's why, named it news and prophecy, a dark forecast call. That's what we're constantly seeing, left and right. But see, a lot of our people, not paying any attention. They're not considering the signs of the time. And it's going to come upon them unaware. That's why the Lord said he will come like a thief in the night. That's why we got to always be watching. We always got to pray without cease, keeping a sober mind, a stable mind. And how do you do that? This wisdom, this knowledge, this gospel will keep you stable in time of trouble. And also the Lord shall be a stronghold in time of trouble. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is News and Prophecy, a Dark Forecast. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rikah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Shalom, Shalom.